Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things. I could do all things. Yeah, I could do all things. Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things. I could do all things. I can do all things. Yeah. I'm not afraid of the moment. I'm not afraid I can't hold it. I gotta show them. Gotta get up in the morning. I gotta do.
Chris Redd, what's happening?
What's up?
My G.
King?
Hey, it's rare that we see each other, man, but when we do, it's a vibe, man.
Yeah,
With all due respect, I'm gonna take my shades off for this one right here. I've been wanting to holler at you, man, because I've been receiving your word of the days. Yeah, word of the day messages, man. They so inspiring.
Yeah, man.
You know, and I used to do something like that similar, but I did mine once a week, every Sunday. But dude, the consistency, man, it's been like 6 months, 4 or 6 months. So, man, what's like the background behind that?
Well, basically, you know, iron sharpens iron.
Right.
And if you don't use wisdom, you become wisdom. You know, and you keep stagnated. So what I did is I got this from a guy from Centerview. He's from on the opposite sides of the track. He's from Centerview, Peru, and his name is Whitey. And he's been sending it to. We started off doing like a lot of stuff for like kids with no parents, a lot of group home and foster home. So we used to go out and for Christmas we used to give them, you know, gifts. So we do this annual toy drive. It's called Center of Love.
Right.
In Carson. So we've been doing that for a number of years. So once we collect a lot of the toys from the neighborhood, everybody donates. We go out and distribute it throughout Los Angeles to like Ann's group home. That's a home for girls with just single kids, parent kids, 17 and under, and then they're on their own. So we gather toys and gifts and gift cards, and we just donate it there. So doing those type of things, man, my man just would reach out to me like every day, like with a word of the day, and I'm like, wow, this is ironic, you know, from the opposite side of the tracks, you know, for me being on the blue side and him being on the red side, for him to just share that love with me, man, that common interest, and just trying to build and trying to give him the words of an encouragement.
Right.
Like he does it every day except, you know, Saturday and Sunday. So when he sends it to me, man, I just kind of like start sending it to a couple close friends, a group of friends that I knew. And then from there, man, I started seeing other people like, hey, man, I got your number from my friend Chris, or I got your number from my other partner, man, and man, just keep doing what you're doing. So it kind of started off with like to 5 close friends. Man, now we up to like 50. I literally sit in the morning, I get up and I do them individually because I hate those threads. I hate those chain threads.
So you send them each individually?
Individually, man, to my partners. And from that, man, so it starts out 50 on my end. Yeah. And man, we're reaching close to like 500 people, man. Right. Like, because, you know, I send it to a group and then they send it to their group. Right. And then that group send it to their group, you know. So it'd be days, man, where I kind of like go almost the whole day without, you know, getting to it because I'm either busy or on set with my daughter or something. And then I have people hitting me up like, hey, man, you forgot the word of the day. And I'm like, oh, snap. Man, so I'll get into it, yeah. So they depend on it, man, like I said. And I think that's dope because, you know, we all, you know, do things every day and we get kind of like sidetracked, but just to stay spiritually grounded on something, either it's some type of word of encouragement, you know, affirmations, stuff like that, man. We need it as people of color, you know, because they love our rhythm but hate our blues. Right. So everybody else can go through therapy and have empathy except us. So I kind of like to just gravitate to that, man, and just send it to my people. That way they can get it and, you know, kind of meditate on it and then, you know, either distribute it or digest it, you know.
Nah, that's love, man. I'm a big fan, G. Like, not only do I receive them, but I actually read them. Right. You know, I've shared them a couple times, more than a couple actually. And dude, I want, you know, even my viewers, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'll share the information too, so people could, you know, probably request to get on the text or whatever. Yeah. But you know, not only are you man, just a positive human being, man, very, you know, genuine. Not to mention funny.
Thank you, brother. You're a gentleman and a scholar there. Thank you, King.
Yeah, it's all good. But also, dude, you know, one other thing we have in common with both parents.
Right.
And so, but
bust a left right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I got 2 boys, and you have.
I have nine. I got 7 boys and 2 girls.
Okay, 7 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah,
how is it raising a daughter though, man? Like, especially in the entertainment industry,
right,
too, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I got one that's 27, and I got one that's 17. But my 27-year-old acts 17 sometimes, and my 17-year-old acts 27 sometimes. So now, man, she's a Gen Z.
Okay.
And so it, you know, raising these kids, and that's kind of like was raised by computers. There's nothing that they can't do, man. They're fearless.
Right.
They're the ones that's gonna change the world. So being, you know, because my daughter both my daughters see me in the game first. You know, like I wrote a lot of stuff for like Snoop's first show, Doggy Fizzle Television on MTV. Me and Iberick. We wrote this show, me and Mark Iberick wrote this show called Doggy Fizzle Televizzle, and then I went on to like write my own comedy special and on BET on Hell Day.
Right.
I wrote the Jesus Walk video with Kanye West. So it's like from doing that, my daughter would see me go get those publishing checks, writer checks from my agent, because I had a literary agent. Writers do need agents,
which is hard to find, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, on my first book that I published, actually, dude, like I felt like I needed a literary agent, which you do, depending on like the level that you want to go as a writer. Dude, I sent probably about 100 inquiries, bro. Don't you know I received 101 back? So that means there was one agent hearing about me.
Right.
They wound up sending me a rejection letter. You know what I'm saying? Just so before I even sent it to him. You feel what I'm saying? But nah, having an agent is it's important.
It's yeah, it's key, man, and it open doors there where you can't normally open yourself, and it kind of lets you know, kind of, shops your content for you. So Michael Hausman, he did like a version with Madonna, so we kind of worked together on a few projects. He helped me out with Mark Ikovich on MTV, and come to find out, he was doing a new artist named Kanye West. Nobody had ever heard of him, but I remember them writing a treatment, and then Kanye not liking the treatment. He's not liking the treatment at all, and even when we shot it, he didn't even like it. So he ended up spending like $200,000 of his own money, and it debuted on Punk'd. So he went and redid. He snatched the video and all that, and went to go try to redo it himself. But we still end up winning the Grammy for Video of the Year. So shout out to Michael Hausman. So my daughter seeing me do that, it just was in her, man. Like she just was. I remember starting a dance group with my kids that used to go around performing at elementary schools for the middle schools. They were called the Crumb Kids. And I remember my kids getting involved in that, doing show, kind of doing like reenactments, kind of dancing to, different playlists, Chris Brown, different types of things, entertainers, and going to do, speak at the schools for like Red Ribbon Week or something like that. They kind of like inspire the kids. So, man, my daughter is always on it, but my youngest daughter she'd be crying because she would want to participate, but she was just too young. She was like 2. So what they used to do, remember Crumpin' was big back in the days. Tommy the Clown, they used to paint their faces. So I would have the kids paint, have them paint their faces, and I would have to do my daughter's face because she would just be, on it, like wanting to perform. So at the next corner, you can make a left.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she's been dying, like she's just always want to perform. And you can pull right there, right? Yeah, so that was her thing, man, just loving to perform and just getting into it. And then from there, man, my agent just kept asking me, like, well, what are we gonna do with her? I'm like, man, she's a cheerleader, like, let her be. And I remember Tabla Man and Michael Man, Tabla Man and David Man, Mr. Brown from Medea. So they were doing a show.
There,
So they did a show. so from that, it's called Man and Wife. And so they cast my daughter as a series regular. So that was her first job as an actress. And I remember, like, cause to being a series regular, man, when you audition, you have to audition like 4 or 5 scenes. And these scenes, man, is about maybe a page and a half, depending on the interaction on the scene. So I just remember, man, I'm like, dang, I know she's good at remembering like counts and dance, but man, this acting thing, you got to kind of have a crazy memory. So I just remember, man, like the first couple auditions, she nailed them. She had a callback, and I was like, man, I just didn't know. I was naive myself at the time because I never gotten that far on like a series regular. So I remember telling her, like, hey, man, you gotta you gotta remember all these lines. And she was like, what the heck? So making her remember all these scenes, man, like 4 or 5 scenes, it was really incredible. So I remember she went back to the final callback, and it even blew Tyler Perry's and Roger Bob's mind because she knew all these scenes. Like, I had to remember all of them. Like, so, you know, I just remember, like, I thought it was gonna be too much for her because I remember her practicing and kind of stumbling and stuff right before the audition. And I told her, I said, you know what? Don't even have to worry about it, man. Just take the paper like everybody else. See, everybody else got the paper. Just go in there with the paper. I mean, you know, it's all good. Just do the best. So they call her up, and she takes the paper, and she's walking down the hall. Man, she must have turned around and was like, hey, pause. I said, what's up? And she just handed me the paper back, all the papers. It's like a stack of papers. Hands them back to me and walks in the audition. It's a off book is what they call it, when you remember all the scenes. Man, after she rocked that audition, bro, like, we're walking back to the elevator, and Roger Bob's like 6'4". He comes back out running. He's like, hey, man, you know, we'd like to offer your daughter the part, man. It's like, we don't even need to see nobody else. We ain't never seen nothing like this before. So right then I knew she could take, she can handle it, because this business is hard, man, especially for a young girl of color. So, you got to kind of like be careful, the roles, because they always try to make you as a runaway or as a defiant kid, or just kid, pregnant girl, young kid. So we kind of like, that was kind of like the foundation of her acting career. So we kind of had a little foundation with the man. They kind of told us, Lorraine, the girl that was on with White, Urkel. He was on the show. Remember the mom, the mom for Urkel? Not Urkel's mom, but Winslow's wife. Family Matters. Right. So she was on Jada's show, and she was always could kind of sit in my ear, like, man, you got to make sure that she got a right, a good manager, you got a good financial planner, make sure you just don't take any contract, because they'll just use you any kind of way, you know what I mean? So I just remembered that in the back of my head. So when she got this part on Disney, The Descendants, I was just like, man, I gotta kind of keep that same type of mind frame to make sure I'm not selling my daughter out, for just a little money. So we came up with a deal. I think the only person that ever did it was like Hannah Montana. Zendaya did it further on in her career, but the youngest person to ever do this type of deal was us. Tim Wiseman at Buckwild and Associates put together a deal with Disney to where it was a non-exclusive. So meaning Jada, my daughter could do whatever she wanted to do. She could work at BET, so MTV, right? Yeah, it wasn't just because most Disney stars they stuck. Right. They can't do nothing else. So do you think it was the value they seen in her? Well, that foremost, because they were looking for this character for like 3,000 kids, and then they found her. So it's kind of like preparation and opportunity. So some people call it luck, but I just said it was a blessing, because I was a steward at first, like listening to Miss Lorraine tell us about how to structure the game, and then yet having the opportunity to structure the game was kind of dope. So she had the talent, but then again we had the wisdom. We wasn't dumb. We used our wisdom. Yeah. I knew it was coming back. Yeah, man. So we used that to say, you know what? It's not always about all money ain't good money. So You know, it ain't all about getting all the money up front and then leaving no, you know, intellectual properties behind.
Right.
So my whole objective of the game was to maintain and to keep her intellectual properties. So with that being said, is we took a little bit up the front, and then we got the whole full, you know, she had her own way to exclusivity. So she was able to, you know, still get the marketing from Disney, because they gave her a doll. She had her own Halloween costume, and so they put her on a big platform, you know, to be seen around the world, you know, and to get her stuff being marketed. So we just kind of use that same strategy.
Right.
So to say this is that positioning her helped me in the game a lot to kind of like navigate this thing, because, you know, once you have a bad taste or a bad experience in this acting game, is kind of hard to recover from. You know, doing a bad flick, doing something that's not in your best interest. So all the stuff we've done with her is with musicals and stuff. So we've been, you know, been fortunate to kind of like just navigate that. And from that, she's done different other shows and been able to travel at her young age all around the world pretty much. And then, you know, that being said, is one of her latest shows that she had was from Brazil, so Julie and the Phantoms. And then I'd acquired her own Asahi company. So she's got Uber too. Yeah, she's one of the first. Yeah, she's one of the youngest franchisees at 17 years old to own
the bowls and stuff.
Yeah, the Asahi bowls from Brazil. Yeah, so you know, so now I work for her. So she the boss now. You know, she's the boss. So I can't even punish her.
Hey, listen, man, we
say, did it go? Yeah,
so we I think as parents we all know that internally, but on paper we fucked.
Yeah,
yo, my son is 51% owner of my company, man.
See, that way, man. See, we can't even punish them, or they won't pay the rent.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to cut that out. I'll be here saying, "Oh, wait, hold on."
They be like,
nah, because you know he been waiting to tell me to take out the garbage. He been waiting.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. I see you doing your thing too with your kid, and you've always been active, and that's why I respect, you know, a man that's always, you know, in their kid's life, man. That's just a blessing, because, you know, and I know that, you know, you can get with a partner that don't see eye to eye, and it, you know, it's easy just to run. But when a real man just sticks back and handles everything and still maintain the presence, it's a beautiful thing, especially amongst us kings, you know, teaching these young kings, you know, self-esteem and respect.
Yeah, no,
man.
It's needed, man. Communication is important.
Yeah,
you know, and sticking around. So yeah, a lot of people lost, bro.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we gonna bring it to them, man. Even the truth hurts, you know. We gotta make it make sense, you know. Spit it into their eardrums, let it manifest throughout. And you know, each one teach one. Iron sharpens iron, man. Even if the truth hurts, we still gotta give it to them.
So
you know?
Before we bounce out, like, you know, the truth hurts. I know the truth hurts, but you know, the concept pretty much is to, you know, be able to discuss, you know, the situations that hurt us most. So, you know, going away, like, what's one of the hardest lessons that one of them, we all go through a lot, but one of the hardest lessons you learned, but it's the truth though.
Man, I would have to say is that the hardest lessons for me to learn pretty much this year is to the people that I thought meant so much to me that I didn't mean that much to them.
Damn.
You feel me? So that's one of the biggest, hardest lessons that I could that I had to take on the chin this year. You know, being related, or being, you know, even your kids. You know, sometimes you get kids that are older. You get some kids that get it, and you get some kids that are strong-willed, and they don't see the sacrifice and stuff that you put into raising them, and all the hard work and stuff that you had to do to make sure that they become productive citizens, and then they grow older and they start forming their own opinions of you. That's a kind of thing to where you be like, man, I raised you, like, how the heck, you know, like. But you know, hey, that's the kind of what you taught them. You taught them to stand on their own, and to you know, to believe in something, don't fall for anything. So, but yeah, that's probably one of the biggest lessons I learned this year, man.
That's a tough one too.
Yeah, brother. Because you expect to get that reciprocated love in return, and then they just be like, man, you don't know. You don't know nothing.
Right. It sucks. But it's, you know, I think it's just part of life, man.
Yeah. And we done forgot more than they know.
Right.
How did I, you know? So
it all comes back though.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Parenting's cool though, you know. Taught me a lot of lessons, so I can't complain.
What's the hardest parenting thing that you had to deal with, like?
As a parent?
Yeah.
Just accepting the fact that let's use a bird for example. You know, bird the baby birds is in the nest, man. The bird fly out. It's your job to feed the bird. You know what I'm saying? But then when the bird develops his own wings, becomes strong, can fly on his own, it's a wrap.
You gotta kick him out the nest, huh?
That bird probably never see his children anymore. Damn, he is fucked up.
Yeah, but that's that good.
Yeah,
that's too good. That's too good.
Too good right there.
See him running.
Yeah, look.
He running through the traffic with no brakes. Look at him, dude.
He on his Martin Lawrence right now.
See, that's why you gotta be in your kid's life, man.
Hey, man, the truth hurts.
Man, that's the truth right there. The truth hurts, man. This guy is on one. Tatted his whole body was tatted.